The Shepherd Who Watched by Night, written by Thomas Nelson Page, narrated by Charles Conover. Copyright 2024 by Anthony Pica Productions, LLC. Production copyright 2024 by Anthony Pica Productions, LLC. The place had nothing distinguished or even perhaps distinctive about it, except its trees, and the tapering spire of a church lifting above them. It was not unlike 100 other places that one sees as one travels through the country. It called itself a town, but it was hardly more than a village. One long street, now paved on both sides, climbed the hill where the old post road used to run in from the country on one side and out again on the other, passing a dingy large house with whitewashed pillars, formerly known as the tavern, but now calling itself the inn. This, with 2 or 3 cross streets and a short street or two on either side of the main street, constituted the town. A number of good houses, and a few very good indeed, sat back in yards dignified by fine trees. 3 or 4 churches stood on corners, as far apart apparently as possible. Several of them were much newer and fresher painted than the one with the spire and cross. But this was the only old one, and was generally spoken of as the church, as the rector was meant when the people spoke of the preacher. It sat back from the street, in a sort of sordid seclusion, and near it, yet more retired, was an old mansion, also dilapidated, with a wide porch much decayed, and to the side and a little behind it an outbuilding or two, one of which was also occupied as a dwelling. The former was the rectory, and the smaller dwelling was where the old woman lived who took care of the rectory, cleaned up the 2 or 3 rooms which the rector used since his wife's death, and furnished him his meals. It had begun only as a temporary arrangement, but it seemed to work well enough and had gone on now for years, and no one thought of changing it. If an idea of change ever entered the mind of anyone, it was only when the old woman's grumbling floated out into the town as to the tramps who would come and whom the preacher would try to take care of. Then, indeed, discussion would take place as to the utter impracticability of the old preacher, and the possibility.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?